I got a starting issue, and I'm in a hurry because I'm under dispatch. I'm on my job, and had to come home early because I had to leave the truck running to get rid of a load, to deliver a load inside and leave it running, and then come on home, drop my trailer across the street, and then come back over here. And I've done everything you got to do to get started. I still haven't got to the bottom of the problem, but I had issues in here because of where I work at. This battery box is not sealed up very tight. I do have two new batteries, one older one that is still testing out good, and I had cable end issues. I had to clean all of these cable ends. Two of these ends, or several of these ends, I had to change one of the big battery cable ends right here, this red one. I had to change that. I put a new lug on it, and then these little ones go to my power inverter. I didn't have to do those today, but while I was at it, I went on and changed the lugs on those, and I'll show you why over here. I had to change these cable things too that join the batteries together. I had to cut this one off to get the thing out of there, and the reason why is because these things are spinning inside. I can't spin it right now, but they are. They spin inside. They won't come off. And this one, you can see how this one's loosened up enough that you can see that's the one that the battery cable went to, that goes to the starter. That's spinning inside here, and they won't come off. They've rusted in there. And so I had to cut the cable off, cut this lug off, put a new lug on the battery cable that goes up to the starter. And I still, after cleaning all of that up, I still don't have starting. I'm still not starting. I cleaned where these go to the ground right here, and it's going to be too much trouble to unbolt this thing right here because it's tangled up with the air dryer on the other side. It's these four bolts go to the air dryer. I don't want to fight with that and then take this plate off and then clean all that. I'm just going to run a bead of weld across the top of this, weld that on to this frame here, and that'll fix that. It's clean on this end. And now when I made this tab on here, I welded brass with a torch and brazing rods. I welded brass onto this steel bar so that it will never rust underneath those. It'll corrode a little bit, green stuff like copper does, because brass is mostly copper. Anyway, that is not steel rust under there, but these cables are clean. That's all clean right now. I did that one. I just did not do this one. Now let me show you what I'm finding here. I'm still having trouble cranking it. It doesn't want to start. Okay, we got intermittent starting. That's what it was doing at work. That's why I left it running and came home. Okay, after putting a load on it, I come out here and I start feeling all of these cables. And this little cable right here that goes from the starter to a ground on the block, this one has a little bit of heat in it, not a whole lot. It's got some heat in it, but what that tells me, by this cable getting real hot, that tells me that I've got a ground problem, and all my ground is trying to go through this little tiny cable. It's not enough. So I'm still going to clean this up and make sure that this is clean in here, and I'm going to do it here as well on this ground, and then I'm going to weld a bead across that tab back there in the battery box on the frame. So I just wanted to get this quick video out saying that is one major thing, is when you find some heat on a cable or an end of a cable, that's a bad connection, and that's why it does that. And I'll show you another place. On this charger, I got the same problem, mostly on this positive lead where the cable goes onto that. That's got a kind of a ugly connection there, and I've had reclamped that, peeled the wire back and reclamped it in there before, but it really needs bigger cables than what it has, because that's a hot spot here and here, so it needs better. And it doesn't get hot here where it goes on the battery, it gets hot right here and right here. So that's something I need to fix one of these days, and that's how I know what's going on there, because it gets hot right there. So that's what's going on with this, and I'll have it fixed here in a little bit. But there's so many places where the ground is here, it's here, and then back there on the frame by the battery box. So I gotta address all of those possible dirty connections on all of those places. I already did everything on the batteries themselves. Replaced a lot of stuff there. Any one of those could have been my problem. Well, none of my problem is here anymore, and it's not here, but it could be here. But we're not getting hot here. There's no heat there, so I don't think it is. That's ice cold. I'm not even going to mess with that one yet. That'd be the last thing I do. I'm going to clean up this right in here. But see, this big cable, if it loses contact, it may not even get warm at all, because it's big. It's picking up a ground off of this little one because the big one might not be working. And so all the ground is trying to go through this one. It's cooling down now. But that's my next step. I got the cable off of there, but I broke the stud, the bolt. There used to be another regular stud on here. I thought maybe there wasn't. Maybe that was on the back by the battery box where I put that tab on the frame. Because there was a stud broken off and I had to do that. Anyway, this one feels like it's just a bolt head on the back side. I can feel the corners on it, but it's not coming off. It's broken off, and I'll have to replace it. So, but the cable doesn't look bad. It looks like we should have been, I don't know, the back side, we might not have been getting the ground through that. But we had a lot of rust build up. I mean, it was thick here. I had to go get a chipping hammer off my welding table and knock this big chunk of rust off of here, and it left like a cavity. So, gotta knock this out of there, clean this up. This is the one that grounds the body or the cab to the frame. This is the main ground wire. And then this is the, this might be where we were picking up our ground. I don't know, I gotta fix this problem first, and then I gotta see if we got anything going on under here. All these connections have to be clean, and since there's so doggone many of them, it's gonna take a couple or 3 hours to clean all of these on this old truck. But they all gotta be clean before I can even say that it might be the starter. I took a hammer and a punch and I knocked that stud out of there, and then I took a little grinder. There's my hammer and punch and my grinder, and I pushed some stuff out of the way, put a rag over this. That's a little jump start thing there you can grab with the cables and jump start the truck instead of trying to get cables in the battery box or on the starter. It's not a necessity, but it's handy. So I took the grinder and cleaned this up a little bit. I can't clean here because that's a cavity now. I cleaned the cables. I'm going to put some sandpaper on that, clean that a little more, I think, and then put this end back on. And then I've got to get back to work as soon as possible, so I'll try the starter again after I put this on. And if that's not it, then I got to go here. But I'm pretty sure it's a grounding issue. because, like I said, this cable here was getting real hot. It was like taking all the ground, but it wasn't letting enough power through to run the starter. Got that one fixed. The only thing I didn't do, I didn't seal it up like I would like to, but I'm in a rush. Got to get back to work. We're going to try to crank it again. If it doesn't work there, then we go to the next spot down the line, which is right here. Take all these off and clean that up. Let's see what it does when we hit the starter now. Trying to see if I can get it to fail, and after putting a load on it on the starter like that a few times, I'm going to see if that little small ground off the starter to the motor, see if that's getting hot still. Sounds like we might have it. Maybe that was my ground issue right there. This has a little heat to it, but not a lot. We got a lot of heat right here. So, yep, got to, let's see, starter's a little bit warm on the back. Yeah, I got to clean this one up too. Clean this up as best as I can. I could do more on this, but taking this bolt off right here, or this nut off right here, will loosen this contact up inside the starter, and that could break something and make me have to take the starter apart to fix it. So I'm going to leave that nut on there and hope that that's not our problem. Hope our problem was just out here. And when you got a great big cable like that, you always put that on first on your biggest contact there. Don't put the little ones on and put the big one on top of it. I mean, it'll work that way, but it's a lot safer to put the little ones on top. And then we'll go on ahead and put this back together, see what we got this time. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hit this starter a few times and see. It should spin a little faster, hopefully, and it should not get hot out there so quick on those smaller wires. Nothing's getting hot. Nothing's getting hot. Nothing was hot over here on the positive cables. Uh-oh, I left one off. I gotta take that nut back off. I didn't even see this one. Alright, I just gotta put that on and then we're done. That is my problem, is chasing that ground down. Started in the battery box, it's where you always start, and worked my way all the way up to the starter. And anyway, we got it fixed now. Not the 100% fixed, but it's close enough. It'll get me back to work for a while. And I've been saying in some of my other videos, I got starter and alternator videos that I have not posted. I did some alternator work, but I did not. It's just an awful lot of editing. It takes hours and hours to do, and I'm too busy. And I got some extra spare starters down here on the floor. Got one down there, one up here. Got parts. I got a starter rebuild kit, alternator rebuild kit. Here's a starter kit. So I want to do that stuff and get it done on video, but I don't know when. Alright, thanks for watching.